put it everywhere. Right, Bill?
Fourth grade?
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Monday, November 19th, 2018 Board of Selectmen, Highway Commissioners, Cemetery Commissioners. First order of business, rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Tonight, Kerry Siganevich and the Town Administrator are both absent. First up on the agenda, minutes, November 5th, 2018, from the Black Tavern.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we accept the minutes of November 5th, 2018 as written.
Motion made to accept as
Second.
presented and seconded. Any questions or corrections? Hearing none, all in favor, state aye.
Aye.
Unanimous.
Mr. Chairman, let the record show that I was not at the meeting, but I read the minutes.
So reflected.
Thank you.
Next up, we have an appointment, Highway Department Mechanic, call-up interim superintendent, Vincent Paletta Senior.
Is Dylan here? I don't see him.
Okay,
You and two?
But he has done his,
Who's he?
Dylan Demirs. He has done his pre-employment physical. He's all ready to go.
I know I
There was a
spoke,
little confusion. I don't even know if he got the message to be here tonight.
Oh, here he is.
Oh, there he is.
Take
We're
your
talking
time.
about you.
I guess you did, yeah.
Come on over.
You better come in up front.
You know him.
We'll wait, no problem.
Listen, they start at 7 down there, not 7:05. I was on the way from work. Okay, hope I'm giving you a hard time. Vinny, you want to start over?
Yeah, this is Dylan Demirs. He's the applicant for the mechanic. He has completed his pre-appointment physical, and he's ready to go. I'm not sure if he gave his notice at work or not yet. But out of 3 candidates, he's the one that's chosen.
Dylan, anything like that? Introduce yourself to the board, or
What was that?
introduce yourself to the board, to the people.
Dylan. I went to Scouts up in Troop 273 in town, so I've been around the town. I worked at Rampco Construction prior, so I've always been kind of local. That's about it.
Any questions from the board?
Typical highway department worker. He's a person of many words.
Mostly few.
It's a broad brush, but
Yeah, I'll tell you what, it's like milking a goat. It comes, but it's real hard to get it out of him. You know?
Mr. Massey.
yeah, I've known Dylan through his work with the Scouts. Been with a long time. I think he'll be a valuable member of our team.
To Jesse.
Mr. Chairman, I'm reading his resume right now. Director's honor list, Universal Technical Institute, Diesel and Industrial Technology. Graduated in 2016 with a GPA of 3.871. He's got the experience. He's been an Eagle Scout. Needs a new watch. Other than that,
You'll never hear the end of that now.
Mr. Joseph, anything like to add?
Oh, but unless there's more questions, I would recommend, or I would move, that we hire Dylan Demers as the new mechanic for the highway department.
second.
Motion made and seconded. Dylan, what could be your first day? Do you know?
It could be 2 weeks from Friday.
2 weeks from Friday? So that would be
Can I have a date, please?
23rd, 30th, December 6th?
I believe so.
Yeah, because
So it'd be December, effective December,
8th,
Wait.
Monday?
December 8th?
7th.
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 7th?
December 7th.
Sorry, it would be the 10th, December 10th. That would be the first Monday.
Oh, start on them.
Yeah, I'd start on that Monday.
Is he changing the date on us already?
Vinny, you want it the 10th of Monday? You want it as of like the 7th on Friday in case it snows, you need a driver?
It really doesn't matter to me. The sooner the better, so yeah, I would go with a Friday. If we can go with a Friday, sure.
All right, how about if the motion to close of business on Friday, that way he'd be available on the weekend if we need a mechanic or a plow?
What's the date on Friday?
7th.
7th, so it'll be as of either either the 8th or close of business on the 7th.
Let's make it effective December 8th, 2018.
Is that okay with the 2nd? That way you're available if any need you.
That means 12:01 a.m.
Fine.
Okay.
Motion made and seconded to have a new appointment of a highway mechanic effective December 8th, 12:01 a.m. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. Welcome to the team.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ellen.
Vinnie, while you're sitting there, we have a second appointment, truck driver laborer.
Yeah, Jesse Russell was the top candidate for the truck driver's position. He's also from Dudley, and I'd like to get him appointed as soon as possible also.
Jesse, you available right away,
As soon as next Tuesday.
next Tuesday? Anybody have any
Already gave
questions?
my notice.
Anybody have questions or comments? Mr. Ruda?
I don't know what the
27th?
What's your truck driving experience? I'm just looking at your resume. It doesn't have...
I've grown up around trucking my whole life. My grandfather was an owner-operator. He worked for Red Star up until they closed and then ran his own
We don't
truck.
want to know what your grandfather did, we want to know what you got for experience.
I've been around trucking my whole life. I've helped friends out driving their trucks. I had my license since July, but I've had 2 permits. Just let them expire. I was driving with other people on a permit.
That's what the people want to hear that aren't
I
here,
know.
okay?
I know.
What, do you have 10-wheel experience or dump, 1-ton dumps?
A lot of 1-ton dump experience, 10-wheeler experience, trailer experience. Plowed on and off ramps in 2015 with a 1-ton with a wing on it.
Well, he has a Mass CDL, so.
Requirement.
Vinnie, did we do the practicum test at the highway department? Are you gonna do that with them, or
Yeah, I'll do that with him.
What did we say for an appointment date?
8th?
I believe that.
Tuesday, I'm not sure I don't have my calendar.
Well,
Tuesday, the 8th?
Tuesday,
Can't be the 8th if.
I mean,
No, whatever next Tuesday.
next Tuesday, I'm sorry.
28th,
28th.
28th?
19th, no, 27th. Today's the 19th, tomorrow's the 20th, the 27th. Okay?
Chair will entertain a motion to appoint Jesse Russell.
So moved.
Moved by
Second.
Mr. Joseph, seconded by the other two. Any further questions or comments for the applicant? Hearing none, all in favor, state aye.
Aye.
Unanimous.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Jesse.
Welcome, Jesse.
Vinnie, while we got you up there, you want to make mention of a soon-to-be retirement coming up?
Vinnie Gribb, is 2 days left, and he's leaving the highway department. He's the loader operator. He's still gonna make that decision too, coming up to fill
One-
his shoes, but
What do you have, 30, 29, 30 years, something like that?
I'm not even sure. I think I'll just be guessing.
Yeah. You were there longer, but he came in pretty soon after, right?
Pretty close.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a high 20s anyway. I can go, I'll safely say that.
Confident with that? Without further ado, on behalf of the board, we'll just thank Vinnie Gribb for a long, distinguished career.
How many years?
Well, we're just trying to figure that out. Upper 20s.
Upper 20s. I don't have the exact.
I think you ought to get his Fanny in here so we can acknowledge him publicly,
Well, after Wednesday, he doesn't report to him anymore.
right?
After Wednesday, he doesn't report to him.
But we're not gonna order him to come in. He'll come in on his own,
Okay. You can ask.
right? But can you please bring him in so we can acknowledge that?
Michelle can make a
It's a
note.
long time.
Yeah.
Michelle, make a note to contact him. Also, speak on behalf of the board, I'm sure we all thank Vinnie. A nice, good, long career, good employee, always answered the bell. Really, in the 30 years I've been around, I don't remember him having any troubles. There's been no,
Yeah, very
unexplained accidents, broken mirrors, and,
awesome worker.
yeah,
Yeah.
good guy.
Good softball player, too.
Well, that's the famous story. I wish he was here, we could tell it. He was, I call him Virgil, and people say, why do you call him Virgil? Well, like 20 or 25 years ago, he was in a tournament, and the town they were in obviously didn't have a large Polish population, and the PA announcer gave up after a couple minutes and said, batting is Virgil Grubb instead of Vinnie Gribb. So when I heard that story, he became Virgil, so. Yeah, try to get him to come in, but
I will.
on behalf of the board and the town, we wholeheartedly thank Vinnie for his service, and we wish him 60-something years of retirement if he can get it.
Great employee,
Yep,
even
great
better
person.
person.
Yep, another guy lived in town, or
Yep.
2 towns his whole life.
Yep.
Thank you, Vin.
Benny, thank you, Benny Grib.
Next up, we have Personnel Board reorganization requests. Appoint Joan Gardecki from alternate position on the Personnel to a full member.
So moved.
Would you like to
Second.
come up, Joan? Joan and Peter, we have a motion and we got a quick motion and a second.
Well, the motion needs to be a little more than that. We
I
got
mean,
two
if you're
things. We
confused-
gotta move Jim Dunn
Well, separate motion.
from regular to alternate, and Joan alternate to regular.
Yeah, we'll do Jim second, separate.
Okay.
Mr. Fox?
Jim Dunn has some personal commitments that he has to take care of, and that kind of means that he will not be able to attend our meetings on a regular basis for quite a while. So I've requested a change that Jim still wants to be a member of the board, but is willing to accept the position of alternate. We would like to have Joan Gardecki become a full member from the alternate position so that we can avoid having a lack of a quorum at our meetings. At the present time, our board is extremely busy with lots of things going on, and I want to make sure that our meetings have a quorum at every time we have a scheduled meeting. So I'd appreciate your vote and support. I have run this by Greg. He's fully aware of it and supports it, but we want to make sure that you're aware of it and support it also.
I think Joan goes without introduction. Everybody knows Joan. She's been around a long time, and if this is what retirement's all about, we certainly appreciate you guys. Got the free time.
Pick and
Is there a
choose.
term of appointment?
Peter, was there a term? Is it just a year or,
I'm not sure what,
just
Oh, so it's still concurrent with her
as an alternate?
alternate, okay.
Okay. Mr. Joseph?
Yeah, so what we want to do is we want to appoint Joan as a regular member to fill Jim Dunn's uncompleted term as a member. And that way we don't have to have the date, because he's already been appointed effective a date.
Do you want to do it as separate motions or do them together? It's the board's pleasure.
You made the motion, Jerry.
I'll withdraw my motion. And then I'll take a motion from Paul. We'll just-
Paul?
I move that we appoint Joan Gardecki as a regular member of the Personnel Board to fill Jim Dunn's term.
Second.
And we put Jim in the
And
alternate.
then I'll do a separate motion.
All right.
Remember that, one of the things that really bothers me is make sure that we do stuff, and the wording is such that when we're all dead and gone, people will know what happened on this date specifically and not have to guess and research records.
Well, I hope we make it to the end of her term at least.
I
Oh,
hope
yeah.
It's
so.
not like it's not a 40-year appointment here. It's not the
boy,
Supreme Court.
that's encouraging.
Yeah, it's not the Supreme Court, yeah, I hope we make it. So, motion made to appoint Joan Gardecki as a full member and to fill the position of James Dunn.
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
I,
Unanimous. Chair will entertain a motion to appoint Jim Dunn as an alternate.
to the Personnel Board, period.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
I,
Unanimous, and we thank everyone for their service.
Thank you
Thank you,
very much.
Joan.
Joan.
Thank you, Peter.
Public comments, citizen comments, informational, anybody wishing to be heard, not on the agenda. Mr. Breyer. We're gonna make a separate category on the agenda, John Breyer,
He's been here a
No,
while.
no, this one here is,
conversational.
we had a meeting this afternoon, myself and Don Johnson. Greg couldn't make it because he's out of town, and it has to do with Stevens Mills. And we actually met with a developer from Georgia. I'm going to be vague, I'm not going to give any names because it's still very preliminary, but it was important enough that I wanted to inform the board here, because, you know, before the rumor mill gets started and you hear things, it was a very encouraging meeting. This developer has a very long and successful track record in taking old mills and renovating them, keeping a lot of the historic features of those mills, primarily down south. He does have some experience. I'll send you the specifics, and Greg, because he's been involved with this, has some of the specifics of who the developer is and stuff. what the meeting was basically today was we were kind of gauging them, and he was kind of gauging us to see, and they specialize in market to above market rental rates, specializing in lofts. Target audience typically are the millennials, people just starting their careers, and active life seniors. The developments that he has done and completed typically have got swimming pools and fitness centers. When they originally started working on these mills, they tried to incorporate the commercial aspect on it, on like the first floor. Haven't had a lot of success with that, except when they put businesses like breweries, those type of restaurants on that.
No, I'm gonna ask that, so.
On that first level, as well as coffee shops and stuff like that for the residents of the community. We had talked about the need on a commercial side, even though it may not be retail. We need places almost like corporate type of apartments. We have IPG Photonics, world headquarters, half a mile up the road. There's no place for those people coming into town to stay. We have Nichols College, their parents there, and when they have guest lecturers, right, they have no place to stay. So as part of that commercial aspect, would they entertain doing something along those lines with, corporate type of apartments or something like that? And absolutely. The other thing that they had talked about, if they do some sort of a restaurant type thing on that first floor or a pub, is actually having a place for venues where people could have weddings and stuff, and redeveloping the whole kind of riverfront. It was significant enough that I wanted to bring to your attention. The time frame, they're in negotiations with the bank now. Their market study will be completed at the end of December. And what they're hoping is that by late spring, that they'll be able to come in here and have a meeting with all the affected government boards first. All right, hear any concerns or anything like that, and then eventually start having the public process. The only commitment we gave them on behalf of the town is that we will absolutely work with them as a partner, and we'll guide them through the process and the public hearings. And if they need state resources from the Baker administration or grant programs, we'll help advocate for them. And so that's kind of where that stands. So it's just informational. I just wanted to get that on your plate.
What happened to Wind Development? Weren't they the last?
Yeah, I guess the fact that, when if you remember the whole thing with when they came in and said, yeah, it's going to be low-income housing, and we want never pay property taxes, and, I was called anti-family because it just didn't work out, I guess. I don't even know if the owner still owns it, the mill today.
Financially.
Yeah.
Well, there was something that we got a little
It's
while
in
back.
tax, he's behind on tax.
Right, but I thought that was paid up.
I think it is paid up now.
Yeah.
But I don't know who the actual owner is. All I'm hoping is that these guys take ownership by the end of December.
Mr. Chair, John, are they looking to make use of the tax credits that are tied to that building?
Yeah, any kind of program available, both, what they were talking about is local, state, and federal.
Well,
Now, they're not going for any affordable or low-income type stuff. They are going to look for some historical tax credits. It's their full intention to keep as much of the historical part of the structure. And when you see some of the portfolio and the gallery of some of the things that they've done in the past with other buildings, it's like, wow. I think it's a home run. It could really become a center of our community.
Yeah, I mean, what you just described is sort of what we would all hope that would be, not what
Yeah.
we've heard in the past, which I was against.
Is there a housing shortage in Dudley?
It's interesting. We brought up to him that 36%, believe it or not, 36% of Dudley's housing stock is actually rentals. Unfortunately, the state doesn't count that towards that 10% threshold.
That high.
It is that high. Now, a lot of them are single-family homes or double homes, and people are renting them out. But there is nothing in this area that caters for that young professional willing to drive within 30 miles to their job, that, you know, has got, one of the key features of the stuff that they've done is they've got their common centers, they've got their pool tables, their ping pong, you know, courts, you know, it's that whole kind of lifestyle thing that they're into.
I'm anxious to see what this
Yeah, this is what this one
new
is.
developer says, and
Yeah.
as far as I'm concerned, we don't talk about old girlfriends, so we don't talk about when.
Yeah,
They don't exist anymore.
exactly.
Okay.
So very encouraging, and we'll, as we get the detail, I mean, Greg will be involved, and we'll get you guys involved. But it was a very, very productive first meeting, so.
Excellent. Thanks, Mary.
Thanks, Mary. Wow.
No town administrator report tonight. We have around town, we don't have one.
Well, we have a town.
Yeah, we have around town,
Jeez, people.
square too. Next up, license and permits, 88 Bar and Grill, DBA Firebrand Grill, change of manager, Kevin Cromer. I'm not gonna sit on this one because although I haven't been working, I have not officially filed with the town clerk, so I'm gonna turn it over to Mr. Marcy.
Okay. So this is just a license, not an open public hearing, right? Okay. Okay. What do we have tonight?
Okay, good evening, everyone.
Good to see you again.
As you know, Kevin Cromer, proprietor, Firebrand Bar and Grill.
Yep.
And we're looking to do a change in manager. Regretfully, the manager that I hired when we opened up passed away last year.
Yeah.
So we've been looking around, and we've got an awesome girl here, Laura Glick. Good references, good backgrounds, and we're going to make her our general manager. And then we just ask for your approval as far as her holding the liquor license.
Okay. Paul?
It's Glim.
Glim.
Is that right?
Glime,
Glime.
yes.
No, I have no questions.
So tell us a little bit about your experience and what types of restaurants you've worked at.
I've been with the former 88s, probably a total of 8 years now. Prior to that, I was at Waterfront Mary's in Webster.
You look familiar.
So, probably. So I'm there, good number of hours, know what I'm doing.
Good. That's good. We want to see that succeed, obviously, in Dudley. Anything else, board members?
Kevin waited this long to find somebody. He or she's gotta be good, in this case, she.
I'll make a motion that
Thank
we
you.
approve the change of manager to Laura Glime, sorry.
That's okay.
Motion by Mr. Ruda. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Joseph. Discussion? Hearing none, call that to a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 3-0, 1 abstention, so?
Yep.
There we
Recusal.
go. Accused. All right, we'll just sign that right up here.
Kevin, while we got you at the,
Welcome.
while we got you at the table, Kevin, we do a, section called Around Town, focusing on local business, and if you would like, and you wanna coordinate with Michelle, you guys can come in one night, either towards the spring or later winter, bring your menu in, give everyone 10 to 15 minutes to
It's a great idea.
tell them who they are. You employ a number of people from town, so if
Okay,
you wanna coordinate with Michelle, you can come in after the holidays, and, or
Sure.
maybe even next meeting, whatever you wanna do. Tell us a little bit about,
Awesome.
a lot of
Be
people
happy
know
to.
you, but
yeah,
little free PR,
thank you for the offer, I appreciate it.
no problem. Like to have you.
Awesome.
Thank
Gentlemen,
you.
Have a good
Good
night.
luck. We'll see
Thank
you
you.
soon. Okay.
So you gonna make a copy of this?
All set?
My signature, okay, kinda light.
Thank you.
Next up, we do have a public hearing. Is there a notice? We have a public hearing note tonight for the Board of Selectmen, Monday, November 19th at 6:30 PM or shortly thereafter. Room 321A, Dudley Municipal Complex, located at 71 West Main, regarding real estate classification. Selectmen will be asked by the assessors to determine a residential factor. And I do declare the public hearing open at 6:53. Lisa Berg, Principal Assessor
Hey, Lisa.
for the
Hi,
town.
good evening.
Good evening, Lisa.
So, none of the board has changed, so as you know, I come before you every year
on the recommendation of the Board of Assessors to either vote for a single tax rate or a split tax rate. Historically, we've always asked you to vote on a single tax rate, and that's the case once again. I believe you all have a packet. Not much has changed from last year. Our residential properties are 91.8%, and our commercial, industrial, and personal property is 8.2. That's up slightly from the year before. If you go to the next page, I show you the top paying, top valued commercial, industrial, and personal properties. As you can see, there's not many. We have 4 that are over $4 million, 6 over $2 million, and 14 over $1 million. And as I tell you every year, some of these are utilities. Mass Electric's in there, Boston Gas is in there. The next page, I show you what will happen if you shift the burden of the tax rate onto the commercial, industrial, and personal properties. Right now, our average single-family home is $255,500. Our estimated tax rate for this year is going to be $1,350. It was $1,173 last year. So the average single-family tax bill this year would be $3,449. The average commercial, industrial, and personal property value this year is $288,851, which would make their tax bill, their average tax bill, $3,899. If we shift the burden just by 5% from residential to the CIP properties, the residential properties will see a decrease in their taxes of $15, but the commercial properties will have a jump of $197. And as you go through option 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, if we go to option 6, with a 25% shift, the residential families will have a savings of $76 in their tax bill, but the commercial, industrial, and personal properties will see a $977 increase, which is quite substantial. With that being said, we don't have a lot of large businesses in town except for the ones I showed you on page 3. A lot of them are pizza places, hair salons, liquor stores, all small businesses. The Board of Assessors feels as though if we shift any of the burden onto those commercial, industrial, and personal properties, some people may go out of business. And we like to keep our businesses here in town. Our overall single families this year have increased over 4.5%. Our commercial and industrial and personal properties have increased by approximately 1%. The tax rate increased, I believe it's $1.77 over last year. We found that the residential properties that when we had them assessed for last year, the homes are selling for anywhere from $60,000 to $80,000 more than I have them assessed at. So we had to bump them up. On the last page, I did a comparison with area towns on their tax rates and their average single-family homes. And as you can see, out of all those towns, only one town has a split tax rate, and that's Webster, and they have 16.5% commercial, industrial, and personal property. And they, for the last 10 years, have been trying to go back to a single tax rate. And I believe all the others on here that I have listed, with the exception of Douglas, have higher commercial, industrial, and personal property percentages.
So, Lisa, a couple of your highlights on your presentation kind of jump out. For the first time ever, total value by class in Dudley, we have over $1 billion. It's the first time
Are you
ever.
looking on the last page?
Yes.
Yes.
So
It was $964 million last year, and it's a little over $1 billion this year.
So that's total value of all assessed class.
Correct.
Pretty amazing number. And after a steady decline over the last 4 fiscal years, we have an increase, and basically that's because the value is
Correct.
selling more, getting more bit bang for the dollar. So when people at home just hear the tax rate went up, there is hard numbers behind it. It's not,
We also had the 2.5% override.
right,
That's in the tax rate this year.
correct.
So that's a large part of it.
Do you know what the maturing debt number was, though? Didn't some of that debt come off?
I think one debt retired, and then we had a debt exclusion. So I think that was kind of a wash, if I'm not mistaken. But then we had the 2.5 override.
Okay. Any questions for Lisa? John?
So Lisa, the big jump in personal property from 18 to 19 was just from assessed value?
Well, we also, so this is kind of hard to explain. So we have the pilot programs. In order to track it, the Department of Revenue has us assess the land as commercial or industrial property. So that bumped the values up there in land. And then we have to back into what their pilot payment is through personal property.
Okay.
So the larger amount is going to be in the personal property, and so that increased it.
I mean, that's where all the growth is. That's why I was just wondering. Okay. Thanks.
Mr. Joseph?
Just a note that on the page it lists classification considerations. Sixth from the bottom in the $1 million category. Make a note that Armand Mandeville is universal tag.
Yes, that it tax.
All right, it's minor. Let me ask you this question, Lisa.
Yes.
Have any of these top over 4 million, 2 million, and 1 million, have any of them moved up a category at all, or have we added anybody to the $1 million category?
We haven't added anybody, but some of these fluctuate up or down on a given year.
Okay,
There's not a large change in their assessed values.
got it. Good, thank you.
You're welcome.
So Lisa, off the top, what was the average tax bill last year compared to this year on single family?
I believe it was under 3,000. I don't have it in front of me.
28 something,
Yeah, I think it was high 2000s.
29 something.
Make a note also, if we can, on that last page, that the percentage of the taxes being paid between residential and CIP, that residential is dropping down from 92.5% to 91.8% of the total bill, the total taxation.
And that has to do with the pilot programs, and we did have
Yep.
a business put an addition on.
Well, that's actually a good sign.
Yeah,
What's that? It's a good,
It's a
yes.
good sign.
Yes,
we
definitely.
want to see that.
So, Mr. Chairman, we can't make a motion because we're in public hearing, but I'm prepared to move for a single tax rate again at the recommendation of the assessors.
Anybody have any questions for the principal assessor while she's here? Any comments from the crowd? Seeing none. Oh, Mr.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, that's part of the reason why the tax rate went up, was because of the 2.5 override.
Listen, sir, I know you're new here, but usually you come up to the table. Chair will entertain a motion to close the public hearing at 7:07.
So moved.
Moved by Mr.
Second.
Joseph, seconded by Mr. Massey. All in favor?
Aye.
Closed. Chair will entertain a motion to implement the single tax rate as recommended by the principal assessor, Lisa Berg.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Ruda, second by Mr. Massey. Any further questions? Really, Paul? You were letting her off easy this year.
I am.
Extremely easy.
She made a great argument.
But you know what? You can question someone so long in terms of number of years, and they keep coming up with the right answers, you might as well let it go.
I've yet to
There's
see
nothing
evidence
there to
of
go
that.
looking after.
And those of you that pay attention at home, that is high praise.
High
from
praise
Mr.
indeed.
Joseph.
High praise indeed.
All in favor, state aye.
Aye.
Unanimous.
Thank
you,
you.
Lisa. Next up, Article 9, Public Business. Derek Lindberger, Eagle Scout Projects.
Eric Lemberger, Eagle Scout. Project
And he's bringing up a full table with him.
Bucket, Gore Pond. Cool.
Ken?
Good evening, Derek.
Good evening.
My name is Derek Lemberger. I'm here before the board to inform you guys that I will be working on my Eagle Scout project. For my project, I will be building a bridge over a spillway on Gore Pond or the Dudley side of Baker Pond. Currently, the spillway is about a foot deep, 10 feet wide, with no bridge over it. So when it's been raining heavily, like it has been for the past couple weeks, currently there's a large amount of water flowing through it. So this bridge will allow people to enjoy the trail that goes around Baker Pond without having to worry about crossing this stream. So, is there any questions from the board, or?
Mr. Bassi?
I love to see projects like this that will be good for everybody in use. I mean, I've known you since you were this big, and you've always been involved with this. We've had a string of like Eagle Scouts come through, and it's just, they've all lately had, even this guy over here, something that everybody can enjoy, a sign, or clearing a path, running path through near the school, Ricky, and something like this. So this is pretty awesome. This is pretty awesome.
Who are the two gentlemen flanking you? And what's their interests in this project?
To my left is my sponsor, Ken, and to my right, my father, Michael.
Hello. Excellent. What do you folks think of this project? Besides the kind of stuff we'd normally hear, what do you think?
Well, it opens up the Gore Pond property that's held by the Conservation Commission. It's 27 acres, and it works out to be 3 peninsulas, and this is really the start of opening up that area. It can be developed all the way from Baker Pond Road all the way to Baker Pond, formerly AKA Gore Pond. It was all one pond name at one time. But it's a nice area. It goes all the way, as you look at the property, it was originally built by Aaron Tufts. He had his mill there, and in fact, that area is called Tuftsville, part of Dudley.
So the parking, the access, first off, it's a great project, very
Yeah.
proud. And, as our Eagle Scout representative can tell you, it's
Well, it's
Quite an
kind
undertaking.
of unique. We had a boat launch there, which was not, based on the deed, was not supposed to be there.
Right.
But as you move further down the road, going west towards Causeway Road or Causeway Street, there's a large outcropping of the conservation property, and parking could be developed for that area.
that's what I was gonna say, they're gonna park.
It gets everybody off the road.
Right. This is the space where the old boat ramp was, there'd be room for a couple of cars, but they'd have to go a little further down and just walk back. It's
Neighbors may not like that.
Well,
if they're off the road.
well, you can't launch a boat there, but you can launch a kayak and a canoe. And that's really what it was developed for, and I believe that's what the deed states,
Right. Yeah, we don't wanna go back down that road.
you know.
We
So-
saw that one.
But it goes from Causeway Street all the way down to Ramson Road. And you can actually, there's a small parcel of the land that comes off of Ramson and goes towards Baker. So it's a nice area. There could be eventually some fishing platforms, some brush cleared away, and putting in a platform for people to fish.
Now,
But this is the first,
Curiosity, Kenny.
this is the first of 3 bridges that
This
would
is
have to
cool.
be built.
I like it. I like the diagram. Well thought out. Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Joseph?
is this on the agenda strictly for our information?
Well, I think,
That's correct. We had approached the Conservation Commissioners, which were the owners of the property, or actually I don't know how it works. I know that the selectmen are responsible for all property in the town of Dudley. The management of the property is a mantle of the Conservation Commission. So we went to them, they approved it, and in fact, they awarded some of the money that they received from the Janet Mulser Grant Foundation to support this project.
I think what we need to do, I
We
think,
should vote anyway.
we should take a vote to endorse the project, because on here, there is a section that says selectmen signatures may be required.
Right.
Yeah,
So I think we should take a
Mr. Chairman, I move that we allow Derek Lemberger to build a bridge and boardwalk on the Gore Pond Conservation Area.
Second.
motion made and seconded to grant Board of Selectmen approval.
okay. I was gonna add, and salute Derek Lemberger, for the project.
Well, I want to see how it comes out first. No saluting yet.
Okay,
I just have one comment. The boardwalk has been dropped from the program due to financial constraints and time constraints.
So it's just gonna be a bridge.
We're concentrating on building the bridge.
Okay.
It will be a bridge with ramps on both sides.
Right.
how much would the boardwalk cost?
Probably the same amount as the bridge, around $600. But what Derek has a time constraint, because the project can only be a one-day project.
It can be a multiple day project, just I don't have much time before I turn 18, so I need to get all of it done before then.
Okay,
I'm putting that on the back burner of part of the Dudley Greenway projects, so.
It can be our next Eagle project.
Well, we generally volunteer selectmen who aren't here to help, but
Oh, Gary.
we can volunteer our student rep if you need someone to swing a hammer. I'm sure you've already discussed things with him. So we have a motion and a second. All in favor, state aye.
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 Unanimous. Derek, good luck. Good
Thank you.
project.
Great job.
Congratulations.
Thank you. All right. That's awesome.
Eagle Scout, that's
Are
impressive.
you gonna get it done before the winter?
It will be done before the winter.
And will we see pictures of it if we
When?
can't get out there?
Michael, could you teach your son to be a little more affirmative, a little more assertive? Huh?
I'm working on it.
You did good.
Thanks, guys.
Next up, Sarah White, update on hands, helping address the need of Dudley seniors. Sarah, long time no see.
Hey, Sarah.
Hi, yes, Sarah White, Chairperson of Hands. Thank you for this opportunity to come before you all. First, I want to let you know that this is our 10th year anniversary. We've been around since 2008, and since that time, we have given out 140 awards, totaling $60,151. So, we do make a difference. So I just wanted those out there in the town to know that we are accepting applications through December 31st. They're available here at the municipal building in the senior center, at the Dudley Post Office, and at the Dudley Public Library. They can also be found online at the town website and at the HANDS website, which is handsofdudley.org. And we're also accepting donations right now, so I have sent out appeals, and a number of individuals and businesses have already responded, and they've been very generous, and we are really grateful, so thank you. If you didn't receive an appeal from HANDS, you can still donate.
Are you able to meet all of the requests or applications?
We-
Meeting assistance?
We are. Every year we have, the amount we're able to give out is dependent upon the number of donations that come in, the dollar amount in donations.
Okay.
So that ranges from anywhere, I think when we first started, there were awards that were like $150. Last year we gave out $700 donations to every single individual. And we're hoping to do the same this year too. So I also am coming before the board to request permission to set up a table at the Christmas tree lighting this year. We've done it a couple of times in the past. And we don't necessarily get a lot of donations, but it's really good publicity, you know, to get our name out there. It's exposure.
Steve Wayne and I both sit on the board of directors, so somebody else make the motion.
All right. Mr. Chairman, I move that we allow, well, you want to do that first?
Permit, yeah.
Yeah, permit Hands to have a table at our Dudley Christmas lighting, which will be held next week, the 29th.
Coordinate with the coordinator where to put it.
Right. Coordinator,
Second.
Michelle.
Motion made and second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous.
What else we need, Sarah?
That's it. Thank you very much.
What a great job.
Yep. Impressive, Sarah. Thank you.
Keep
Thank
going.
you. And
Awesome.
thanks to the board, too.
Next up, Paula Lane Circle Drive. Kristen Mallett. I believe this is the annual, appeal's the wrong word, request.
Kristen, the spokesperson.
Yep.
Yep.
Dave Terrio's moved over this past year, so.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know.
Yes, I am here before you to request snow plowing for Paul Lane and Circle Drive. I don't know if that's something that, we want to continue doing, or hopefully it's not too late at this point to request that, and then obviously I'd like to continue to move forward regarding being able to have access up to our
Right. I mean,
roads.
that's always been the former superintendent's. The original motion was to try to show progress.
Yep.
I think we're kind of we've gone pretty far, let's put it that way. Mr. Paletta.
Yeah, I had actually had the pleasure of plowing that, this storm, first time ever. I've always been on the other side of 31 filling in. So, the original, the person that was supposed to plow that area didn't show up this past storm, so I filled in with a brand-new pickup truck and a brand-new plow. And I hit something in a road and broke the brand-new truck and the brand-new plow on a private road. And it had to go out to Place Motors today to get fixed. So, it's an electronic issue, but that's the point I'm trying to make is we can't go up onto a private road and fix whatever's sticking out of the road because we have no jurisdiction on it.
It's that
And
hump,
it-
Vinnie?
Huh?
Is it that hump?
No, it's before it. There was something sticking up in the road. A manhole or something, or
Before the hump on,
before the hump,
That's the
going up
town
the hill.
por- that's the town portion?
Almost at the top of the hill. And it,
isn't that town portion?
I think it's right, I don't know. I thought the town portion was at the bottom of the road. I don't even know where the town portion is.
So we've always, Mr.
The hill is really rough. If that's town portion, we could pave that, but I heard that's not even town.
But
I don't have all the paperwork. I know we surveyed it, and I know you guys can't see, but Paul, when something like, the wasn't quite the width of the road, it was like half the width of the road, and went up.
We got signatures from the people who owned up to the middle of those pieces,
No access.
which is almost halfway up that hill.
Yeah, I know it's got a long history on it, but I thought it went up Fairview Ave and stopped before it went right, and that's the end of the town.
Yeah, there was a little piece, I thought, to the right, after that fire hydrant around that corner.
we've kicked this can down the road for a lot of years. And I think we're gonna continue to kick it one more year. But I think that this board has an obligation to have Greg, Town Council, the Highway Department, come up with a recommendation to solve this particular problem. Not all streets, but this particular problem sooner rather than later. Because all we're gonna do is we're gonna pass it on to subsequent boards of selectmen.
Who passed it along to us?
And we've always said, Mr. Joseph, that when
Yeah.
we start breaking equipment, then it's a whole different shooting match.
Well, you know, I was thinking, obviously, we've watched the road not deteriorate, but present problems. And the naysayers were proven wrong. Our highway department can do it when it comes to saving or being concerned about the safety of life and limb of residents. They do pay taxes, but we're not gonna maintain those roads, Paul Lane Circle Drive, or any other private roads, the way we do public ways. But I worry about what happens when the portion of that hill deteriorates to the point where a highway superintendent, worth his or her weight in salt, comes in and says, we can't keep doing that.
I think we almost have an obligation to send a letter from the town administrator on behalf of the board to all the residents and say, you have a betterment program that we've passed at town meetings specifically for this exact issue. They need to start taking advantage of it. I mean, we can't be breaking equipment out there now, because now we have, you know,
The worst
now we're
part of the
putting that
road
bill
is the
on.
road that connects from Fairview up to the bump. That's the older portion of the road, which is in the worst condition.
Right, you know, here's the, I didn't realize it was in our packet. Here's the little jog. I don't know if I can,
It's in there.
yeah, it's a little jog at the bottom, and I think, if I recall correctly, the part that's highlighted was determined to be owner unknown. That's why, generally speaking, the abutters own halfway. We got permission. The top part was owned by the developer, who shows a cul-de-sac, but is no longer a cul-de-sac, it's a curve. And at the risk of relitigating it, the developer,
All right, let's go one step at a time. Let's,
Moving into,
all right? I'm gonna move that we, continue to, provide the same service to Paul Lane and Circle Drive for the, winter of 2018-19 as we have in the past. But I want you to know that after that, I'd like to ask Mr. Ruder to have something put on the next meeting's agenda about the issue that you raised about the letter.
second.
all right, I got something I want to add after the vote. Motion?
In terms of discussion, I think we need to resolve the highway
That's gonna be
superintendent's
my next
issue.
thing.
If he's already broken a piece of equipment already.
You know what?
I'm
Okay.
in agreement, we want to keep it open for public safety, but we also can't be busting plows every time we.
Do
Well,
we
the
have
other-
an opinion from,
the
the
other-
highway superintendent?
Huh?
Do we have an opinion yet, Mr. Chairman, from the highway superintendent?
Well, the other side of the coin is that that plow route belongs to a private plower. So if I sent a private plower in, if he was up and running, and sent him into that area, he would have broke his own equipment on a private road.
You recommend we continue this, at least for this year?
Yeah, but we gotta fix these things that break the trucks.
We don't gotta fix nothing.
Well, yes, it was
The
a broken
people,
truck.
no,
It's a
the
broken
people
truck,
who
Paul.
live on the street.
He's talking about the truck, not the street.
Oh, yeah, we gotta fix the equipment, that's a
But-
given, all right?
The people on
But
the
the people on the
street
street, yeah.
have to fix it. And we have to put a big old sawhorse or something there so we don't go anywhere near it. I would think if we're gonna continue.
There's a lot of them that are in really, really rough shape.
Well,
Pri-
You wanna
private.
give us a list?
I think you had it. I know you had it.
Danny had it on, Greg had
We had a list that, well, let's let a list vote for us, because
Yeah,
I,
let's-
They had a whole list and it
17
rated all the road
Right.
conditions.
Okay.
Most of them were poor.
right. Port Fair, yeah.
Okay. All right, so,
Motion made and seconded to continue the plow policy for the winter of 18-19.
I'd like to take another look at this.
specifically, sorry,
No, I'm gonna,
specifically for Paul Lane Circle Drive, that's the motion.
I'm gonna ask for an amendment as the seconder to that motion and say, you seconded it?
Yeah.
I think the policy needs to be until, for 21 more days, and then we'll have another chance to have a meeting and reevaluate what we've done and how we've addressed the concerns in the highway department.
That was gonna be my comment. I think, that's the first I heard about the
And that's
equipment being
only for
broken.
emergency service, for
Oh,
emergency
well,
purposes.
What if it's gonna snow this week?
Well, my question was, we have a motion, but my comment was gonna be after the vote. This is the first I heard about equipment being broken.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And Greg's not here to give us
Right.
any kind of guidance. I'm sure Greg, you must have told Greg it happened, right?
No,
Okay.
just,
So-
yeah.
Greg doesn't even know. We need to, it's a fine line. Historically, it's a fine line to tread because we've always been told, like Mr. Ruda said, once equipment starts breaking, you can't use town funds. It becomes a very, very fine line.
I mean, we gotta get met halfway here, Mr. Chairman, by the residents there, not, it's self-excluded, of course, but they have to meet us halfway when we start breaking equipment. There's
Yeah,
definitely a
we're,
problem.
we're interested in creating a betterment for the roads so that they can be brought up to par, so that this doesn't happen.
Unfortunately, this is the end of the season for hot topping too, so I mean, if it was just a simple fix, with 1 ton of hot top and patch. I mean,
Right, we
that's.
can do minor repairs, we can't go
But
crazy.
there's, yeah, but I mean, the asphalt plants are wrapping up for the season right now.
So why don't we
What's the amendment?
the amendment is to make, instead of saying for the season, we say for 21 days, and that will give us another bite of the apple to address the problem, and then we can,
21 days takes us until when?
Middle of December, beginning of December.
we'll have one more meeting.
Our next meeting would be the,
That's okay with me.
And that'll give Greg an opportunity to sit with the highway superintendent
Okay.
and.
It's acceptable.
Yeah, I'm all right with that.
if the motion was amended to be 21 days
Yep.
to be revisited at the next appropriate meeting.
Yep.
You good with that? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. Vinnie, also, can you get together with Greg? And if you do get any kind of chance, we can go up there, and if it is a simple fix, we put some hot patch, cold patch, if we get a chance,
Yeah, cold patch isn't gonna work.
come up.
Jonathan, Mr. Ruters had the better solution.
Oh, the betterment,
Big-
yeah.
Big barricade there for the winter.
Oh, Barry.
Oh, on top of the,
You just don't plow it.
Plow around it, yeah.
Right.
yeah, I mean, we don't go down the road of revisiting every issue over there. I mean, we found out drainage wasn't where it was supposed to be. One drain was actually where you're talking about on that
Yeah.
side. One drain was actually filled in and covered over by one of the residents at one time. You go over there, it's gone.
Could I ask, Mr. Chairman, that Mr. Ruda make a motion to recommend that the town administrator, on behalf of the board, send letters explaining the betterment program that exists for the people on Paula Lane and Circle Drive?
All registered property owners.
All registered property owners, yeah.
So I'll make that motion, and I'd like it also to include the urgency of accepting a betterment program, because we're rapidly
Right.
getting to the end of
Too bad Lisa left, you could get a
Good
list for
moment.
him tomorrow. Michelle, maybe you can, I know Greg's out of the office. Oh, he's back tomorrow, right? Okay, you can contact the assessor and get a list.
The application of that suggestion might be wise for us to consider for property owners on all private roads in the town.
That was the
Right
idea.
now, let's just
I
handle this.
agree
one.
with that.
Yeah, that was his intent, right, Mr. Ruda?
But right now, we're just gonna do Paul Lane Circle Drive?
We'll do Paul Lane, let's jump off that bridge first.
Okay.
and then-
All right, motion made and seconded to have the town administrator contact all registered property owners by letter ASAP concerning betterment.
Opportunities
That's that town
available,
meeting.
or the betterment
It
policy.
was
of the
pa-
town.
Right, there's a policy, and it also passed the town meeting.
Okay.
Any further comments or questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous.
Just
Any-
on, sorry, just on my end, first of all, plowing has been outstanding, and I personally appreciate, the efforts, that have gone on over the years, and sorry that your equipment broke. Hopefully, we can, rectify that, so in the future that doesn't happen. But also, I'd like to offer, a personal meeting with Greg if possible, excuse me, before the next, meeting, just to make sure that
No, I think I think that we would have to have that.
I'm kind of, I apologize. I'd like to maybe also find another partner in crime that is willing to sit in on meetings too, with me too as well. Not that I'm going anywhere anytime soon, but it'd be nice to have someone else too.
Now, I don't know how, I'm not over there anymore, Kristen, and I know you got at least 2 or 3 new people in the last year or so, right? Like Richard's household up the hill.
Yeah, 2 almost simultaneously, the same side there. And
Do they realize the predicament they may be in? Maybe you can get one of them to come in with you. They-
yeah, I've talked to one set of the families. I haven't talked to the other set of families. Who's probably closer to the side of the road over the
Right,
hump,
right.
if you will.
And Vinnie, maybe you can do a quick search on, I don't have the paperwork from that far back, and come up, I know it's a couple years old now, but that list that was provided by
Yeah.
the previous superintendent.
I mean, my suggestion is to look at that list, say in September of every year. And if you want to continue plowing the private roads,
Yeah.
in September, look at them and see what needs to be done with them, just to repair them enough to plow them for the winter, because a lot of them are really rough. And they're just gonna break the plows all winter long.
And I know Mr. Joseph and I were on the board, I don't think you guys were at the time, maybe, I don't know, when previous administrators arbitrarily sent out letters saying we were gonna discontinue the service, and
Right.
it was borderline chaos.
But of course,
But
we
that
didn't have the
previous
betterment.
administrator left here
Right.
quickly.
We didn't have the betterment policy
We didn't
either.
have the betterment policy, which we did specifically to address.
It's an opt-in since, yep.
Mr. Massey?
Does most people go up Paula Lane now, and rather than going up the hill?
It's different, like, there's the same people who travel the same ways.
But I
up
wonder, I mean, maybe just for the winter, to get, just, I mean, there's someone's, the corner house, right, but kinda don't do that piece, and just go up Paula and you can get there.
Well, I think there's an issue with that too, because
up to,
that's
like-
Shinaki's road.
Yeah.
You gotta use Shinaki's road to get to Paula Lane.
Well, that's actually what part of the problem is, the access at the end of, Circle Drive, that's, we don't know who owns
Right,
that.
that's where that jog is, that we own, like,
Where the
Town-
where the condos are?
cross,
Across.
right in the corner, if you go, come up Fairview, take the right to go up, Circle.
No, I'm talking go
Oh,
left.
well, we know go left that's all private, but to go right, there's a little, it shows up in that
Small
map.
section.
There's a little jog, and then there's like I don't have my,
We tried to find the owner of that.
well, they did too. Well, we
Yeah.
did a survey, the town did a survey,
Yeah.
and then someone did a title search, and it essentially came back essentially owner unknown. And we heard from the person that Mr. Paletta mentioned, that they came forward and said, no, they owned it, and they had proof of it. It's beyond me. If anything, it's between the administrator, council, and
We're gonna get this situation resolved.
Yeah.
It kills us.
Like I said, September wouldn't be a good time. Give us a little time to fix the roads. The asphalt plants will be open, and just get them fixed enough to plow them instead of
December 15th it closes,
December 15th.
the asphalt plant.
Well, it's usually first,
About that.
first freeze, isn't it?
yeah, it's usually first freeze or first snow.
Keep our fingers crossed.
Yeah, usually it's, yeah, any day after Thanksgiving, they're done.
Yeah.
Kristen, you've done a admirable job
I've done it admirably.
representing the people.
I wish that by now, maybe we'd gotten a little bit further, especially with the betterment. We can't do anything over the winter time. Spring is very busy for me to come back in, and make time, so over this year, I would like to try to move forward with the betterment. And
Well, every
know-
time I saw you sitting in the peanut gallery, I just shook my head and go, oh no, not again. But you
We've come a
have
long way.
you've represented the people honestly and professionally for quite a while now. And I know on behalf of the board, we respect that.
Thank you.
We really do.
I think I brought up in the past, and I know people are sick of my stories, but she had to push me out one time. Came around the corner, remember, and
Yeah, I did.
had no water, and they had to come out and
That's when it was getting hot, yeah.
push me out in the mail truck, because otherwise, your day was gonna end right there for Mr. Sullivan.
Just real brief, what is the betterment? What are you talking about on the
It
betterment?
was, John, go ahead.
So we passed a bylaw and a policy that, a policy and then the bylaw that allows people to give a little bit more, residents of, like Paul Lane Circle Drive, for example, give a little bit more in their annual, property tax bill. And so the town would go in and bring the road up to standard, and then they would pay us off through their property tax bill, through that betterment program.
Okay.
10 years, 15 years, something like that, depending on how much the cost was.
But the issue too, I think.
So we get reimbursed, we do the work so we know it's right, we get reimbursed for it by the residents, and then it's eligible to become a public road.
Okay, the reason I asked the question is because you're gonna bring the road up to standard at that point. Well, if we needed to do a quick repair and it's $1,000 to fix it, can we apply that to the betterment also? No?
They have to accept.
Well, I don't know.
Well, the issue with the betterment is,
Not everyone
you
has to
can't
do it.
impose it, you have to opt into it.
Yep, yep, they have to
So-
make it.
The unenviable task is to recruit everybody on the road to say, yes,
You know how
I'll
that's
agree
gonna
to
go.
Not everybody, it's over 50%, right?
over 50%, yeah.
If it goes over 50, the other ones have no choice, they have to.
Right, and they,
It won't be a problem.
you have to get that, everybody to it.
While we're at it, can I ask this question, because you've all raised it in my mind. Vinnie, can you update us in writing, not now, but update us on what we pay plow drivers and how that compares with abutting towns. Can you do that? I just wanted to know, because we haven't had that for a couple of 3 years. I'm curious.
Well, it depends on if it's a truck or one
Right.
ton, right?
But we have
You're
rates-
talking private,
Or contractor, or?
Yeah, contractor.
Yeah,
private-
contract,
private.
yeah.
Because we do have,
Every town has the same thing. Pickup truck, X, and as you go up, but they have standard rates, and the state does also. All right?
We're nowhere
But
near the
I'd be
state rate.
curious to know how we,
We're nowhere near the state rate.
I don't know.
we're not that far. They're all fairly close, believe it or not. But I'd be curious, please.
I know just over the weekend, we're $5 less than Douglas. I know that,
Okay.
for a pickup.
Through the chair, do we have sufficient private guys lined up for this?
Right now, yeah,
Yeah.
but that changes throughout the
Oh,
winter, yeah.
That can change storm to storm. Guys,
Exactly,
some guys don't
yeah.
show up.
Yeah.
I remember,
I didn't mean to keep Kristen here. Can we let her go?
well, she likes coming. It's only once a year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Kristen.
Thanks, Kristen.
Thank you.
Next up, we have a request to close the town hall on Thursday, November 29, 2018, at 4:30 for the tree lighting. My only question to the coordinator is that early enough? You wanted it a little bit earlier? That's fine. Coordinator says fine. Chair will entertain a motion.
So moved?
Moved by
What
Mr.
what time is it normally closed on Thursday?
7.
Should we be closing
What
at
did we do
regular
last
hours
year?
instead of having extended?
I'm just thinking 4 o'clock rather than 4:30, but
What she said.
It's just when everybody starts showing up at 5:45, so 5:30, and people can't do business up here.
that doesn't give you a lot of time. I'd rather see it be at 4 o'clock. I mean, we all know what the work is
All right.
is to go in.
Change my motion to 4 o'clock.
Thank you. And now I can second that?
Motion made to close at 4, seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous.
Mr. Sullivan.
What time is Santa coming, Michelle?
6, so right after we get 3.
You're driving?
When he gets there.
Never know.
I want a picture of that.
Magical.
You have the right license for that?
Drove trucks all my life, buddy.
Okay.
Buddy?
I was a driver in Holden before I came here.
Well, that was 10 years ago for crying out
We
loud.
only got one item left.
What about,
Couple. Skip
9D? We skipped D.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, what happened to the easement?
Underground electrical easement for National Grid, Fire Station Project to be signed. Does anybody,
I'm against it.
buddy? He's against it.
It's already approved, we just have to sign it, right?
Mr. Chairman, I'm gonna move that we grant, an easement for underground electrical
Have fun.
requested by National Grid as it relates to the, fire station project.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Joseph, second by Mr. Ruda. Any further questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous.
2 copies, guys.
Next up, First Congregational Church of Dudley parking waiver. Request permission to park on both sides of Center Road, 12/1/2018, 10 to 4 for the annual Christmas fair. What's the board's pleasure?
So moved.
What's the date? I mean, what day of the week is it?
Saturday.
Oh, okay, that's a good day.
Motion made and seconded. Any further questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous.
Mr. Chairman, I'm gonna move that we acknowledge receipt and approve the, Board of Selectmen meeting dates for the first half of 2019 as follows. January 7th and 14th and 28th, February 11th and 25th, March 11th and 25th, April 8th and 22nd, May 6th and 20th, the 20th would be prior to the town meeting, and June 3rd and 17th.
Motion made to accept the tentative Board of Selectmen meeting as presented and seconded. Any further discussion? Yep, right about now, I usually make my annual motion to amend it to meet weekly, and I know it'll be defeated, so I won't even make it.
You're not gonna do that now, are you?
No, I always do. Nobody ever seconds it.
There's a good reason for that, Stephen.
Yep. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
What are we talking about?
Oh, we're gonna do.
Every
Oh,
other.
yeah, they're passed, you're all set.
Unanimous. Board member comments. Mr. Bose,
All right.
we're going by age, youngest first.
So the marching band just won the national championship again.
Wow.
That's back-to-back, and that's 3 out of the past 4 years. The girls cross-country won the Central Mass Championships again.
Sorry, I didn't hear that.
And boys finished 5th in their Central Mass championship. The unified basketball team earned the Sportsmanship Recognition Award. Cheerleading competed at the 2018 state championship. Mr. Shepherd Hill was this past Monday. And Wednesday is going to be the Thanksgiving football game at 5:30. It is not Thanksgiving Day.
Oh.
I do not know the exact reason why, but I believe it's because of the temperature.
It's supposed to be 20 for a high now.
Yes, so
Is that home or away?
that is away Wednesday at 5:30 at Tantasqua.
Supposed to be 20 for a high.
Yeah, so and that's all I got.
So I'm not saying nothing. Mr. Joseph,
Oh, no. You said you're going by age, so I'm last.
or are we gonna go top to bottom? Mr. Massey? Nobody? Mr. Massey?
I'm good.
Mr. Ruda?
I'd just like to ask Michelle to put private road discussion on the next agenda, not just a follow-up from the circle, the Paul Drive in the Circle Lane, an overall discussion. And I think we're gonna take a look at that point, and sending all people who live on private roads the same sort of notification that we're sending Paul Lane and Circle Drive. And then, the only other thing I wanted to reaffirm to Greg is that the bylaws that were not able to make it to the last, the fall town meeting, that we're still under legal review, make sure that we don't let up the gas, because we've already begun the legal review on those in the edit, so I'd like to continue forward with the board's permission to get those on the spring warrant, in whatever form we may choose to approve.
So moved?
Well,
Yes.
Good?
But, you don't need a motion, you just,
Without objection.
yeah, without objection, would be good this evening.
Okay, I'd just like to add, I was at Mr. Shepherd Hill. It's an amazing production put on 99% by students, for the students. The place was full. It was packed. The line to get in had to be 200 people long. It was literally went down the hall. If you picture Shepherd Hill, left of the cafeteria, went down that hallway, past the library. It was amazing. The place was packed. Every single student and escort got a resounding cheer. There was no derisive noise from the crowd. Everybody was well behaved. It was such a fun, nice event. It's good to see. 9th annual, I think they said.
Ninth, yes.
Annual one. And I saw other students that had graduated in the past that had participated, and they'd come back, and it's just a fun thing. The talent is amazing. We had anything from magic tricks to piano playing to stand-up comedy to one kid came out with a face mask on and pretended the goldfish was a piranha. He had his face in a fish tank. He was pulling up with a fish net, pretending he was catching piranhas. It's an amazing event. It's really fun.
Who won, Bailey?
I believe
Something Porter.
Jace
Yeah.
Porter, Asian show choir. He sang unbelievably and played the piano.
Oh, wonderful.
Is he from Charlton or is he done?
He's from Charlton.
Charlton, yeah.
I actually do have something, Mr. Chairman.
Too late. Mr. Massey.
No.
I have one more, too.
No, on Saturday, I went to the annual craft fair at Shepherd Hill. You want to talk about packed.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that was pretty awesome. I try to go once a year to see that, and just the amazing work done by the Shepherd Hill Music Parents Association to put something like that on is a lot of work.
Year after year.
Year after year, and it just seems it look like it gets bigger and more complex, and they have some really cool vendors. And I ran into the Kuwait cheese people, and I'm gonna have them come back in. Remember them from Dudley, Ramsond Road? So I bought some cheese and told them let's come in, so they're happy about that. So I just want to say that was a great job by everybody. Great event.
I was asked to read also, we touched on it tonight, Christmas tree lighting ceremony is Thursday, November 29, 2018 at 6 PM right here Dudley Municipal Complex, 71 West Main Street. Come join the community and celebrate our annual tree lighting. Santa will be arriving once again on the magical Dean Kochanowski fire engine. Refreshments will be served along with crafts and games. All residents are welcome to attend. Every year it gets bigger and bigger. I don't know how Michelle and her elves pull it off every year, but somehow they do. Please come out. It's a great event. Support the community and see Santa. And one last thing, it's not the best copy, but in the holiday spirit in our packet, we have a picture. I can't see, it's gonna be hard to see. Every year they do a holiday card, and apparently in 2010, a young man who was in second grade? No.
Fourth grade.
Fourth grade, was picked to be the Happy Holiday card person. And I see in the picture Chief Wayner, Officer Carpenter, two former teachers, one who has unfortunately passed.
This is Doobie.
But our own Mr. Bailey Bowes, who went from holiday card to Eagle Scout,
I still have that holiday card.
and he still has the card.
It's my only artistic fame that I have.
Ah, come on, you got a lot better than that.
This is a big Troop 7273 night, huh?
Yeah? Really, how many, do you have any idea how many Eagle Scouts have come out of that troop offhand?
I think it's over 53 now.
Really?
And we're gonna have quite a few in the next year.
Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. Departmental Communications, Mr. Paletta.
What do you need?
Oh, sorry, Mr. Joseph. I thought you were all set.
Just to let the board know that I'm gonna ask to have at the next meeting on the agenda, the appointment of 4 of the 5 positions on the Agricultural Advisory Commission. Jim and Chrisanne Kepke will be one. They can always alternate. Victor Calgren, who used to own Pleasant View Farm, still does, but now it's out of Airport Road. He bought all of the Bates Farm property, is the second. Michael Cushing, who still lives in Dudley, grew up right on the other corner from me, on corner of Bates Road. Michael Cushing is the farm manager for the new Oxford Farm. The Oxford Farm was land owned by Western Nurseries. It's 100 some odd acres that it was bought by a couple in, out of Winchester, I believe, Mass, who own recycling plants. And they've hired Michael to be their farm manager. They already have beef herd in, they have some sheep. So Michael, I'll be asking to come forward come the spring, because some of their product will be ready to come to market. And the 4th person, which will be an advisory position, will be, I'm sorry, the third one will be, the third farmer will be Tim Carroll and Katie, his farm manager, Farmer Tim's. Michael is the 4th position, who will be a Dudley resident interested in farming and agriculture. So we will only have one more spot open to fill, and that's a Dudley resident. And I've got a few names from Chris and Jim Kepke of people who we could contact to become the 5th and final member. So that's moving right along.
So, Mr. Chairman, I don't oppose any of that. I just think that we need to remember that this is all being spawned from a proposal that we've yet to even review or accept, Economic Development Committee proposal.
Well, it was approved at the town meeting.
Right, but it's been approved to be a committee of the Board of Selectmen. The Board of Selectmen has not yet approved.
Well, the Board of Selectmen does the appointments. If the Board of Selectmen
Which, and I'm not
doesn't
opposed to
approve,
the appointment,
then we'll know.
but I don't want to go too far down the road with that economic development plan until we,
So are you suggesting a different tact?
I'm suggesting that before we go too far down the road with that proposed plan, and we start filling up positions and thinking about funding things, the board should approve it first.
Let's talk about the actual plan, the economic development plan was presented for information.
There are many things in that plan that I'm not in agreement with, for example. and we've never had a chance.
All
as a
right, then
board.
what I'll do,
We're gonna
okay.
have a public
And
hearing.
it doesn't necessarily mean I'm not in agreement with the agricultural committee.
Okay.
You can
But
bring
the
the names
plan
forward,
itself.
we can condition it or whatever.
What I'll do is I'll ask the board to approve that, the Agricultural Advisory Commission portion of the plan, not anything else in the plan. So we can get these people to start meeting, because
So
they're
what-
all experts.
So why don't we look at that portion of the plan
Yep.
when we go ahead and make those appointments for the agenda item that you're asking?
Yeah, because you're right, we should not appoint, we should not make appointments unless we accept that Agricultural Advisory Commission. All right?
Have you had a chance to read the plan? I think you were down to the count when
Yep.
it came out.
Yeah, I've gone over it, and in fact, I've talked with John Briere numerous times about filling these positions and getting this particular group to go ahead. He's already working with the state to come up with funding that may be available for some of the things. But what we've told the people is, we don't tell them how often to meet, we don't tell them what they're gonna work on, it's entirely up to them, but they will spend time with us, telling us, and then having public hearings of what they wanna do. I mean, we got some really good people in this. Only need one more.
Okay, well, we'll have a chance to get that at the next meeting.
Right,
Just that, right, just that portion of the plan
yeah, the
and
agricultural.
the appointments.
Yep, fine.
Mr. Pul, you all set, Paul?
Yep.
Mr. Paleto?
As you know, we had our first snowstorm already this season, Thursday night into Friday. We officially had 8 inches of snow in Dudley. Unfortunately, there was a tremendous amount of cars parked on the side of the road where the plows couldn't really complete their wiping off of the streets, which is very important to keep drains and the water off the roadway. So I talked with the police chief this morning, and we talked about the bylaw that we have in Dudley. It's Article 10, Section 3F, and I need to get a little bit of feedback from you. It says, "The Board of Selectmen, Highway Commissioners, Chief of Police, or Superintendent of Streets may declare a snow emergency upon which street parking shall be prohibited. Notification to public shall be the official Town of Dudley website and/or electronic means that are available. The snow emergency shall expire within 24 hours unless it's extended." So I'm not really sure how to get into Twitter and
Michelle can do it.
Facebook or the town's webpage. The police chief said that he can do something with control to get text messages sent.
What do you wanna do, Vinnie?
Declare a snow emergency on 2 inches or
Put it
more
on Facebook and just tell them.
so that we can plow properly.
Okay, we've gotta make it known, and this board can establish that as a policy specifically for all streets or just certain streets.
All streets.
All right, we can do that as a policy for the board to follow, but it doesn't force future boards from having that policy.
2 inches?
2 inches or more, yeah. That's usually when we plow. And like I said, it's important to get it back, because if you drive around a car, and then the next day, or whatever, when it starts melting, the water's coming down the gutter, and it's gonna follow that windrow that you plowed around, or if there's a drain right there, it'll just bypass the drain. So it's important for us to get it curb to curb every storm.
How about, Paul, before we take that action, we put it on our next agenda?
Yeah, I'm not suggesting we take action now, because it's not on the agenda.
And coordinate with Chief Wayner and
Yeah, I spoke to him, he said he would handle the,
talk to Greg, though. We can draw it up and make the motion nice and concise.
I just didn't know about how to access the town's website or the Twitter or
Michelle
Facebook.
can, yeah, if you have any questions about any social media, you can go, Michelle will handle it.
Okay.
And we can make that happen. That's not a problem.
Well, we have a bylaw in place, so it just has to be enforced, too, but...
That was the other thing, is enforcement. I asked him if the police would help us to enforce, and he said, in the past, usually, if the police aren't busy with crashes, then he would send somebody with us, or we would hire a detail officer to go door to door and try to get the cars moved before they're ticketed or towed, which I thought that was a good public relations to, try to get the car moved before it's actually towed out of there.
Mr. Joseph?
The bylaw doesn't state a specific inch amount.
No, I know, that's why I want to meet with Greg and draw up how we
Yeah,
can make the
so
motion.
I'm reluctant to enforce something unless this board adopts a policy and makes it as well-known as possible to the people before they start getting ticketed or towed.
Right,
That's not the intent.
right, that's why I think we should wait and get it
It's
all
always
dotted
been,
and crossed.
it's always been the discretion of the superintendent.
Right, it's just been a matter of
So
enforcement.
it could be
Yeah, sanding isn't an issue because we're not creating that windrow.
2
But
inches.
plowing, we
discretion.
start plowing at 2 inches,
That's
so.
what he wants.
But sanding isn't an issue. If there's an inch of snow out there, no park on the street, we have no problem with that.
Okay, so get together with Greg somehow in the next couple of weeks, with Chief. Get the fire and EMS concerns too if necessary, and
Okay, well, I was reading the bylaw that.
Yeah, oh, no, it's already there, I know.
Police chief, so.
Is there any issue now with you declaring if you needed to before our next meeting or before we have a
No.
policy?
No.
Yeah.
but we don't know.
Unless you have, do you have
No,
any
just
problem with
let,
it?
just let Michelle know and.
Yeah, if we're gonna plow, I'll just pull the trigger and let it happen.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Vinnie.
Michelle's, if it's 10 o'clock at night, I don't expect Michelle to go on Twitter.
She's on duty 24/7.
No, she's not.
Oh, I've seen that look before.
I know you have, and it's not right.
But just let me know somewhere.
I know you have, it's not right. Anything else from the board? George,
Somebody text me.
you sure? It's been so good to see you the last couple of
handle-
meetings.
Don't
I
call
answer
on
most
Dean.
of the messages that come in now. Yeah,
Chief, you all set?
and
Nothing? New station, nothing's going on?
We want to note that the police chief left to go pick up his son at the airport.
Yes, happy Thanksgiving to,
Yeah, he was coming home for the first time.
happy Thanksgiving to all. Let's hope for a nice win for Shepherd Hill. At that, the chair will entertain a motion to adjourn. Mr. Joseph, Mr. Marcy, any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Happy
No, Dean?
Thanksgiving.
If my wife is
So I
still
said, nothing
watching,
going on? You got
I'm ready to get picked up,
2
hon.
weeks, nothing?